stupid car things.
Can I see you tomorrow night?
Sure. But don't you mean tonight?
Smashy, what got you into the car scene?
Some people I was hanging with in about 2001, 2002, all of them had fun cars is the way I'd call it. So just hanging out with those people, after a while got into it. And then you meet a lot of, I guess, good people through the car scene. Everyone's always broke though, because they're spending money on their cars. It's just part of the life. And they just sort of stayed with me since then.
I know you're into Subarus, but what was your first car?
First car was a Toyota Seeker hatchback. Had zero mods. I think it was $2,000 manual. Carvey, and put some wheels on it, put some stereo in it, and then outgrew it quickly because it wasn't fast enough to keep up, and went straight from that to a Nissan Pulsar GTIR, which is probably why I got more into the car clubs and things like that, because that's more of a suitable car to be in car clubs with versus a Toyota Seeker.
Speaking of, comparing it to the GTIR and the Celica, both cars now have increased in value. What are your thoughts on that?
I didn't have a Celica, I had a Seeker.
Seeker, yeah.
It was, the Seeker would be worth nothing because it was just a very everyday car. Yeah. The GTIR, mate, loved it. Had to sell it when I was moving overseas, otherwise I'd probably still have it. Spent a lot of money fixing things that broke because I was doing stupid things. None of it was the car's fault. Given the price of them now, I bought mine back then for about 15k, and they're back around that 16 to 20k mark now. It's insane. I can't believe somebody wants to pay that much for a car made in 1992. The price is crazy, but I guess if someone's willing to pay the money and people got it for sale, they can make a few dollars of it. Personally, I wouldn't buy one at the current market rate, is where I'd put it.
Smashy, you've had a whole assortment of cars from the Toyota Caldina GT to the WRX. And what car actually resonated with you from all these times that you wish you got back?
There's two cars. Obviously, I want the GTIR back. That was a lot of fun. Really sort of set me up in the car scene. The other one would be a Subaru GC8. So I had that, and I probably had it for a year maybe, and it kept on breaking down, and my partner made me sell it. But if I could get one of those, I wouldn't mind a GC8 at a decent price. So those would be the two for the moment that I wouldn't mind having if it was affordable.
Specific color on the GC8?
I would like the Rally Blue, obviously. The one I had was green, so I'll take a green one. GTIR black.
Seeing as the petrol prices have gone up, do you reckon you'll switch to an all-electric alternative as you've owned you own a Tesla?
Yeah. All electric, I think, is great for everyday stuff. In my opinion, it lacks a little bit of personality in what you can really do with it and how much it can really be yours. But as a daily, you can't go past it. Will I ever get to a point where it's, no longer, irrespective of the price of petrol, that I wouldn't have a petrol vehicle? Unlikely, is where I'd put that. I think unless they got to a point where they stop selling fuel, right, then I'm kind of stuck. But until we get to that point, I'm quite happy to have one petrol vehicle at least, and specifically manual, if possible, just to go have some fun with, more so than anything else, because you can't really work on an electric vehicle. There's too many dangers in there, and there's not enough parts to work on. So in the foreseeable future, no, I will not be full electric on all vehicles.
We got to see your lovely WRX bug-eye. What plans do you have next for it?
There's a couple of maintenance bits that need to happen. I've got to replace a gearbox. So I'm hoping by March next year it'll have a new box, retune. Should be making hopefully 210 on high boost. And then there's a little bit of general maintenance work that needs to happen on it, replace the rubbers and things like that. Eventually, don't know when, white body kit, respray, and that should be like 90% of the work done. And from there it'll be brakes, brake upgrade, better wheels. I would like to have 4 racing seats in the car, opposed to the way it's set up now with the stock. So just like 4 Recaros or something would be nice. But that also means custom interior for the rear. It's all dreams, man. I don't think the list it'll never ever be finished. There'll always be something else to do. But it'll be 99% there in the next 5 years.
Right, what do you think of the car prices now? Or what are your thoughts on the market and the hype between, all the JDMs and whatnot? The cars that you grew up with.
They're far too expensive. They are far too expensive for what they are. Even like this car, I bought it for $5,000. Yeah, it's got some work done to it. I would assume when I bought it, if I had to sell it at that time, even with all the mods and things like that, it'd probably get $5,000 again. Given that people want to pay over $10,000 for this car, is unbelievable. It drives like a $5,000 car. No matter how much you put in, there's not much that's really going to change that. So I think people will buy it for the love, in the same way that I think I bought a 1972 VW Beetle. It was a terrible car to drive for other people, but I love driving. So unless someone's got a real love for cars of this era and the money to spend, they'll buy it. Would I pay $10,000 for a bug-eye? Never. Never. That's not going to happen. So I think it's heavily inflated, but I don't think it'll come down. I don't think it's like the bubble will burst and then the prices will crash, because there's less and less of the cars available, because so many of them get written off or end up in a junkyard, or people buy them and put them as project cars and never ever build them. So it's good for me. I own one. Maybe one day in the future, if I ever sell it and I got like 25 or 30 grand for this car, it'd be great. But getting into one now is almost impossible.
So Smashy, do you have any, tips for the newcomers that are coming into the JDM scene? What would you tell them nowadays?
If you can afford it, buy the car that you want. And what I mean by that is, if you wanted to buy an STI, go buy an STI. Don't go have enough money for a WRX. I'm going to buy a WRX and turn it into an STI. It'll cost more than buying one. The platform that you're going to work on is all wrong. So don't make that mistake of going, I can afford this and I want to build it into something else. start with a better platform. If you want a particular thing, like if you got a GTS 4 but you really want a GTR, go save up the money, buy the GTR, because they are very, very different in many ways once you start to work on them. And then the cost of making a car what it's not is not great. And then do some research before you buy something. If you're gonna go buy an RX-7, great, find out some things, you know. Don't buy it and then go 2 weeks later I bought something with a blown motor. Don't be eager to get rid of your money. Do the research, and if you miss out on a couple of cars, you miss out on a couple of cars. Such is life. But don't make the mistake of, you know, paying 20 grand buying something and then you got to spend another 30 grand just to get it on the road.
You've done practically you've practically done the reverse. You know, this isn't an STI WRX. Do you regret that?
Nah, I had a look at STIs and WRXs when I was buying. For me, it was budget. I wanted to spend no more than 5 grand, had to be Japanese, had to be turbo, either rear wheel drive or all wheel drive. So for me, the WRX kind of fell into that among some other cars I was looking at the time. Do I care that I don't have an STI? No. Did I ever have the intention of going, I'm going to build this out to be an STI? Not at all. It's a toy car. You know, if I put this into the wall one of the days because I did something stupid, I'm okay with that. It's not that concerning to me. I have other dailies that are going to be fine and be alright, and I've taken this to the track once so far, but it'll be do some of that stuff, and it's something to play with. So for me, the STI wasn't necessarily in one budget. 2, I'm never going to turn this into an STI. I know how much power I want to make, which is a maximum of 210, and that's it. Right? If I had an STI, I'd already be very close to that power with the retune. I'd be already making that, but then there wouldn't be a lot of the other fun things that I get to do with this. So no plans of like turning this into a 6-speed. That's not going to happen. It'll end up with another 5-speed, just one that holds more power. A nice easy 210. Upgraded brakes just so I can stop. And those are all the major performance mod side of things. And then from there I'll go to cosmetics. It's got a lot of issues on the outside. Heaps of things to fix.
Do you reckon you're still embedded in that car culture in life? You know?
I've got a few mates that are still into the car scene. People that I've met through car clubs. I go to the occasional meet as well. I think there's four of us. I'll be down to 3 because one guy sold his car. We used to catch up at Krispy Kremes at Farnagate every so often. And it'd be so I've got this Rexy, another guy's got the Blob-Eye wagon. Polo's got the STI, and Dom used to have the 4-door 34. And we used to catch up, just have a chat, talk about mainly car things, all this sort of stuff. I think that'll continue. There's no moving away from it. Even if you buy something else, you go Euro, you go something more family oriented, you'll still always want to be involved in that modding sort of world and things that you want to do to make your car more individual, more recognizable as yours. So I don't think that's ever going to change. The cars definitely will, but the people won't.
Question, Smashy. Do you think you'll be giving this car to your as a family heirloom at this point?
My kids are keen. Neither one of them can drive, a 10-year-old and 14. So they want to to know when they could have it. I don't know if they're gonna get it. And what I mean by that is, so my daughter starts driving about 4 years before, 4 years after that, you get a B plate. How many people are gonna be able to drive a manual car? What are the rules gonna be? It's outside the power to weight ratio for a P plater. So I don't know. I don't know if it's gonna be a family heirloom or not. We'll see what happens with it. Hopefully I don't stack it. That's the big thing. But if I do, then okay, nobody gets it. If not, then most likely my daughter. Reason being, she's put more work into this than my son, just from an age point of view. So she has a higher appreciation for it and would be less likely to stack it based on the blood, sweat and tears